Hello and welcome to Living Right with Chris. My name is Chris Isweke, and I'm so excited to welcome you to this week's episode in our weekly series. This is the first week in the month of July, and I just said in my welcome address to the month that I will be treating a topic this month that says healing from emotional neglect and strained family relationships. But for this week, we're looking at some reasons why families grow apart. So, have you ever lived in a house full of people yet still felt completely alone? When people hear the word family, every one of us we often think of love, we think of safety and belonging. But the truth is, for many teenagers and young adults, home can be a place of emotional loneliness. And we can see that especially in the world that we live in today. Emotional neglect doesn't always mean that your parents don't provide food or clothing or the basic necessity of life, education and all of that. But sometimes it often means that no one asks how you're really doing. You're feeling are constantly dismissed, or you're only noticed when you've done something wrong, or you've done something extremely um, commendable. You don't feel emotionally safe enough to express yourself. Many young people grow up believing that their feelings don't matter, but every young person needs more than physical care. They also need emotional connection, and this is the place of parents to build that connection with their children, and between parents and children to children. All right, but as teenagers and as young adults, what do we need to take home from all of this that I'm saying? We need to understand that being emotionally neglected is not the same as being emotionally worthless. You are not emotionally worthless. Though you may feel neglected emotionally, there's no connection within the home. You are not worthless. Your emotion matter, right? So, what are the things that you need to do to navigate all of this, right? All of this disconnection within the family and the feeling of neglect within the family. It's what, that's the trust of our discussion for this month. And I hope that before the end of the month, we'll have known to pick life lessons that will help us navigate through all of this challenge and come out whole, emotionally and otherwise. So, what are the reasons? Why is it that families really grow apart? What causes people who love each other to become strangers under the same roof? The fact is, most strained family relationships don't happen overnight, right? But there are some common factors that are implicated in causing some of this disconnect within family. One of them is poor communication. In a family where people do not communicate with each other, and parents are the one who institutes communication within the family. And when parents do not communicate with their children, it is difficult for the children to communicate with each other. And everybody feels so alone in their home. Also, constant criticism instead of encouragement. Parents are quick to criticize children when they don't get things right. And they often don't even encourage them when they even get things right. Don't applaud them, right? So when you constantly criticize or you are constantly criticized within your home, there's tendency that you feel distant from members of that family. Also, busy lifestyle that leave no room for connection. This is, all of these are usually part of what parents should play, especially in the growing up years of their children as teenagers, as children, even before teenagers. Parents are supposed to cultivate all of this because when they start it off, it helps siblings to connect with each other as they connect with their parents. So when parents become so busy and don't have time for their children, there's tendency to break communication within that home, and connection is broken when there's no communication. So when parents become so busy, there's tendency for the children to feel emotionally neglected in that family. Also, financial stress. When parents are stressed financially, all they think about is how to make money, to um, take care of their children, take care of the family. And most of the time, they do this at the expense of connecting with their children. And when they do not connect with their children, they're pursuing money. You know, the children feel emotionally neglected in that home. Unresolved conflicts is between parents, husband and wife. When they refuse to resolve their conflicts, most of the time, it affects the children. You know, um, in broken homes, for example, you see that the children in broken homes usually feel emotionally detached from their parents. And then unresolved conflict between siblings also is also a reason why people feel neglected within their family. Another reason is unrealistic expectations. When parents expect so much, from their children beyond what is necessary, most of the time it just push their children away and they feel emotionally distant from their parents. And then generational differences. When a sibling is like 5 to 10 years older than the other siblings, most of the time, if there are no children in between, there's this disconnect within the elder and the younger when the difference in age is much. But this is usually not the case where there are children in between. For example, you have three children and they're all you know maybe 2 year difference. They usually connect better than when the age difference is wide, like 10 years and above. All right, so the younger ones usually feel disconnected from the family because there's no basis for real connection, except it is intentionally done by the elder sibling or by the parents, usually by the parents. Another reason is parents carrying their own emotional wounds. When parents carry emotional trauma, childhood trauma, they carry it to adulthood, and they're not really healed from their trauma. They bleed it on their children, and it's difficult for such a parent to connect with their children, and that child, feels emotionally distant from their parents. So sometimes parents are not intentionally hurtful. They may just simply be giving what they themselves received growing up. So the fact is, you cannot give what you don't have. So except parents begin to learn how to connect with their children, it's difficult because they were not connected with, growing up as children. So it's hard to now give it to their children, except they sit down and learn to say, no, this circle must stop, and then we must get it right, right? And understanding this doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it helps us see the bigger picture. It doesn't mean that we're excusing our parents from all of this disconnection and even ourselves, but we're seeing a bigger picture that there is need for connection and um, emotional neglect and strained family relationship is a thing and is affecting young people and especially teenagers of our time, right? And what I want you to learn in all of this for this week is that understanding someone's behavior helps you respond with wisdom, but it doesn't mean accepting unhealthy treatment. So the thing is, knowing all of this is to prepare us to navigate, you know, all of this that is happening within our homes, so that we can, better help ourselves and help our siblings and even our parents to connect better with us, so that we will feel better and feel connected within the space of our family. So I want you to do this instead of asking why are they like this. Also ask what's my day be carrying, right? Some people might have their own hurt, even our parents might have their own hurt, and this is the trust of our discussion for this week. I want you to know that um, in the course of the month, we'll be able to provide solutions that are practical for us to engage in, that can help us as individuals, and by extension, help our siblings and our parents on how we can connect as a family and heal our wounds. I want to thank you for being here today. If you're new here, please subscribe to this channel, give a thumbs up to this video, and then I know that by next week, we'll come back stronger than we are. Thank you for being here. Until next week, it is bye from me. Bye.